about, gosh, I don't even know how long it's been, 23 years ago, maybe longer than that. I was preaching in Cleveland, Ohio, in this little church, and I was preaching a message that later became kind of, I'm gonna say, famous in our little circle. The message was, Satan, the blood is against you. And I was preaching it, And this guy sat down in the floor, this big guy just sat down in the floor and started crying. And his woman collapsed right beside him. And all the little kids start crying and worshiping. And well, you might not know you don't preach, but when you preach, when somebody worships God excessively, you pay attention. I didn't know who they were then. I later learned that their name was the Bradys. Well, I had that happen a lot of times. And then, you go on and they go on and, they start following me. I turn up in another city, here come this big old guy. You can't miss him. You got to recognize him when he come in. It ain't like you didn't know he was there, and then they start singing and stuff. Well, I was kind of embarrassed because they heard me preach at all these big churches and stuff, but back home in West Virginia, in the country where I lived and grew up, I had a little tiny church, and they wanted to come to West Virginia. I told them, I said, well, you know how it is to be all dressed up and stuff and look like you got a little something, and somebody want to come over to your house and you say, well, well, here come this big old bus with all these kids on it right up in front. The bus was bigger than my church. And they got on off that bus and went to shouting and jumping and hollering. I thought they was going to be acting funny. And you know what? They joined. They joined my church in the hills of West Virginia. I don't even think I was on TV yet. I wasn't on TV, I wasn't famous, I didn't have no big church, I didn't have no big name. All I had was a word. They moved to Charleston, West Virginia. Now, Charleston, West Virginia, the entire membership of the city is about the size of this congregation in the whole city. They moved to West Virginia and stayed in West Virginia until God told me to come to Dallas. And guess what they did? They moved to Dallas. So when I started my church in Dallas, they were down here helping me start that church for several years, and then God called them to pastor, and they started and established a wonderful church in Winston-Salem, Raleigh, North Carolina, called the River, and they left and been there for 10 years. And but don't clap yet, because that ain't the good part. Here's the good part. They're coming home. Potter's house, get ready. The Bradys are coming home, and we're excited about it. I want you to welcome them and their family back as they come here to help me do the work that God has called me to do. And I want you to come as the founder of the Potter's House and the Temple of Faith. Y'all don't know what the Temple of Faith is, but they do. That was where we started. God is not a line, because a lining has a beginning and an end. God is a circle, and you've come full circle. It was amazing to me how easy it was to preach with you. That's the first time we ever did it. We didn't practice it. We didn't rehearse it. We barely talked about it. I just told her what text. And it was easy to do because there's a DNA between us. We're all connected. I almost knew where you were going before you went there, and we just flowed together as if it were one, because it is one spirit. Bishop is one spirit that has always joined us together. And you were the first one to know it. I didn't know why you were sitting on that floor, but I think something in your spirit knew that that big old hillbilly from West Virginia preaching about the blood of Jesus, that somehow our destinies were connected. And even though God had you on assignment all of those years in Raleigh, to be honest, we were never disconnected. Amen. We were never disconnected. And so this is quite natural. We raised our kids together, sang in the choir together, ministered together. Amen. They know all of my kids' secrets. My kids know all their secrets. We're going to have to sign a covenant. I want a contractual agreement. I want to welcome you home. I will throw my arms around you. Church, would you help me welcome the Bradys?